This is The Cousins by Karen M. McManus, Chapter 2. Aubrey. I stretch my fingers towards the slick wall of the pool. As soon as they touch, I turn and push off for the final lap. This is my favorite part of any swim meet. Water rushing over my extended limbs as I glide through it on pure momentum and adrenaline. Sometimes I resurface later than I should, which Coach Matson calls my derailer, a tiny flaw in technique that can mean the difference between a good swimmer and a great one. Usually I try to correct it, but today I'd stay down here forever if I could. I finally break the surface, gasp for air, and settle into the rhythm of the breaststroke. My shoulders burn and my legs churn in welcome, mindless exertion until my fingers brush tile again. I pull off my goggles, panting, and wipe my eyes before looking at the scoreboard. 7th out of 8. My worst finish ever for the 200 meter. 2 days ago, the result would have devastated me. But when I spy Coach Matson staring at the scoreboard with her hands on her hips, all I feel is a triumphant spark of anger. Serves you right. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm never swimming for Ashland High again. I only showed up today so the team wouldn't have to forfeit. I haul myself out of the pool and grab my towel from the bench. The 200 meter was my final event of the day, in the last meet of the season. Normally, my mother would be in the stands posting overly long videos to Facebook, and I'd be poolside getting ready to cheer for my teammates in the relay. But mom isn't here, and I'm not staying. I head for the empty locker room, my wet feet slapping the tiled floor, and extract my gym bag from number 74. I drop my cap and goggles into the bag and pull a t-shirt and shorts over my wet bathing suit. Then I put on my flip-flops and send a quick text. Feeling sick? Meet me at the door? The relay is in full swing when I re-enter the pool area. My teammates, who aren't racing, are at the pool's edge, too busy cheering to notice me skulking away. My chest constricts and my eyes prick until I catch sight of Coach Matson at her usual spot next to the diving board. She's leaning forward, blonde ponytail spilling over one shoulder as she shouts at Chelsea Reynolds to pick up the pace. And I'm hit with a sudden, almost irresistible urge to barrel forward and shove her straight into the pool. For a delicious second, I let myself imagine what that would feel like. The Saturday crowd at Ashland Memorial Recreation Center would be shocked into silence, craning their necks for a better luck. Is that Aubrey's story? What's gone into her? No one would believe their eyes, because I'm the girl least likely to cause a scene about anything. Ever. I'm also a giant wimp. I keep walking. A familiar lanky figure hovers near the exit. My boyfriend, Thomas, is dressed in the Trailblazers jersey I bought him. His dark hair buzzed short for the summer like always. The knot in my stomach loosens as I get closer. Thomas and I have been dating since 8th grade. We had our 4-year anniversary last month, and collapsing against his chest is like slipping into a warm bath. Maybe a little too like it. You're soaked, Thomas says, disentangling himself from my damp embrace. He looks me up and down, wearily. And sick? I might have had one cold the entire time Thomas has known me. I'm weirdly germ resistant. You don't take after the stories, my father always says with a sigh. The merest hint of a virus can incapacitate us for days. It almost sounds boastful the way he says it, like his side of the family are rare and delicate hothouse flowers, while mom and I are sturdy weeds that can thrive anywhere. The thought of my father makes my stomach tighten again. Just feeling a little off, I tell Thomas. You probably caught it from your mom. That's what I told Thomas last night when I asked him to drive me today, that my mom wasn't feeling well. I didn't tell him the real reason on the ride over this morning either. I couldn't find the words. But as we reach his Honda, I find myself itching to spill my guts, and it's a relief when he turns to me with a concerned look. I just need him to ask, "What's wrong?" and then I can say it. You're not gonna throw up, are you? He asks. I just vacuumed the car. I tug open the passenger door, deflated. No, it's a headache. I'll be fine after I lie down for a while. He nods, oblivious. I'll get you home then. Ugh, home, the second last place I want to be. But I'm stuck for a few more weeks until it's time to leave for Gull Cove Island. Funny how something that was so weird and unwelcome at first suddenly feels like a sweet salvation. Thomas starts the engine, and I pull out my phone to see if either of my cousins added to our group chat since this morning. Millie has. She's posted a summary of her travel schedule and a question. Should we try to all take the same ferry? When I first got my grandmother's letter, which Dad immediately assumed I would agree to, no questions asked, I looked up both my cousins online. Millie was easy to find on social media. I sent a follow request on Instagram, and she accepted right away, unlocking a timeline filled with pictures of her and her friends. They're all beautiful, especially my cousin. She's white and Japanese and looks more like a story than I do. Dark haired and slender and large, expressive eyes and cheekbones to die for. I, on the other hand, take after my mom, blonde, freckled, and athletic. The only characteristic I have in common with my elegant grandmother is the post wine birthmark on my right forearm. Gran has one almost the exact size and shape on her left hand. I have no idea what Jonah looks like. I couldn't track him down anywhere except Facebook, where his profile picture is the DNA symbol. He has 7 friends, and I'm not one of them because he still hasn't accepted my request. Jonah barely posts in our group chat except to complain. He's angrier than Millie and I about getting sent to Gull Cove Island for the summer. Now, as Thomas pulls out of the recreation center parking lot, I distract myself by scrolling through yesterday's conversation. Jonah: this is bullshit. I should be at camp this summer. Millie: what, are you a counselor? Jonah: not that kind of camp. It's a science camp. Very competitive. Nearly impossible to get into, and now I'm supposed to miss it? And for what? A minimum wage job cleaning toilets for a woman who hates our parents and most likely hates us too? Aubrey: we're not cleaning toilets. Didn't you read Edward's email? Jonah: who? Aubrey: Edward Franklin, the summer hire coordinator. There are lots of jobs you can choose from. I'm going to be a lifeguard. Jonah: well, bully for you. Millie: you don't have to be a dick about it. Also, who says bully for you? What are you, 80? Then they argued for 10 minutes while I ghosted the conversation because confrontation, not my thing. The last time I saw any Story relative was right after we moved to Oregon, when my father's youngest brother breezed through for a weekend visit. Uncle Archer doesn't have children, but as soon as he arrived, he dropped onto the floor like a Lego expert to help me with the town I was building. A few hours later, he vomited into my toy chest. It wasn't until recently that I realized he'd been drunk the whole time. Dad used to call himself and his brothers and sister the 4 A's, back when he still talked regularly about them. Adam, Anders, Allison, and Archer, born a year apart from one another. They all had distinct roles in the family. Adam was the golden boy athlete, Anders the brilliant eccentric, Allison the reserved beauty, and Archer the charming jokester. Uncle Anders, Jonah's father, is the only one who didn't inherit the family good looks. In old pictures, he's short, scrawny, and sharp-featured, with eyebrows like slashes and a perpetual thin-lipped smirk. That's how I picture Jonah whenever I read his messages. I'm about to put my phone away when a new message pops up, from Millie to me. It's the first time she's ever texted me without including Jonah. Aubrey, important question for you. Is it just me, or is Jonah a total ass? A grin tugs at the corner of my mouth as I type. It's not just you. I open Thomas's glove compartment where he keeps a handy assortment of snacks, and I dig out a brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tart. Not my favorite, but my stomach is rumbling with the post-meat hunger pangs. Millie: I mean, nobody's thrilled about this. I might not be signed up for Genius Camp, but I still have things I'd rather be doing. Before I can respond, another message pops up from Jonah in our group chat. That ferry time is inconvenient, and I don't see the point in arriving in tandem anyway. Millie: oh my god, why is he such trash? Jonah: excuse me? Millie: ... Sorry, wrong chat. Millie in our private chat. Fuck. I laugh through a mouthful of Pop Tart, and Thomas glances at me. What's so funny? He asks. I swallow. My cousin Millie, I think I'm gonna like her. That's good. At least the summer won't be a total loss. Thomas drums his fingers on one side of the steering wheel as he turns onto my street. It's narrow and winding, filled with modest ranches and split levels. It was supposed to be our starter home, bought after my father's first novel was published almost 10 years ago. The book wasn't blockbuster, but it was well reviewed enough that he was offered a contract for a second novel, which he still hasn't written, even though author is the only job he's had since I was in grade school. For the longest time, I thought he got paid for reading books, not writing them, since that was all he ever did. Turns out he just doesn't get paid at all. Thomas pulls into our driveway and shifts into park, but doesn't cut the engine. Do you want to come in? I ask. Um, Thomas takes a deep breath, his hands still drumming on the steering wheel. I think I lick my lips, which taste like cinnamon and chlorine, while I wait for him to go on. When he doesn't, I prod. You think what? His shoulders tense, then rise in a shrug. Just not today. I have stuff to do. I don't have the energy to ask what stuff. I lean towards him for a kiss, but Thomas pulls back. Better not. I don't want to get sick. Stung. I retreat. Guess that's what I get for lying. Okay. Text me later? Sure, Thomas says. As soon as I'm out of the car and shut the door, he reverses out of my driveway. I watch him drive up the street with an uneasy flutter in my stomach. It's not as though Thomas waits for me to make it through the front door when he drives me home, but he doesn't usually take off quite that fast. The house is quiet when I get inside. When Mom is around, she always has music on, usually the 90s grunge she liked in college. For one hopeful second, I think that means I have the place to myself. But I've barely set foot in the living room before my father's voice stops me. Back so soon? My stomach twists as I turn to see him sitting in a leather armchair that's too big for the cramped corner of our living room. His author chair, the one Mom bought when his book was published. It would look better in one of those office/libraries with floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, an imposing mahogany desk, and a hearth. Our tabby cat, Eloise, lies stretched across his lap. When I don't reply, he asks, "How was the meet?" I blink at him. He can't really expect me to answer that question, not after the bomb he dropped last night. But he just gazes back calmly, putting a finger in the book he's holding to mark his page. I recognize the cover, the bold black font against a muted, almost watercolor background. A Brief and Broken Silence by Adam Story. It's his novel about a former college athlete who achieves literary stardom and then realizes that what he really wants is to live a simple life off the grid. Except his rabbit fans won't leave him alone. I'm pretty sure my father was hoping the book would turn out to be autobiographical. It didn't, but he still rereads it at least once a year. You might as well, I think, my temple flaring. No one else does. But I don't say it. Where's Mom? Your mother, Dad hesitates, squinting as the sunlight streaming through the picture window reaches his eyes. The light brings out glints in his dark hair and gives him a golden glow he doesn't deserve. It makes my chest hurt now to think about how mindlessly I've always worshipped my father, how deeply I believed that he was brilliant and special and destined for amazing things. I was honored that he'd given me an A name. I was the fifth A, I used to tell myself, and one day I'd be just like them, glamorous, mysterious, and just a little bit tragic. Your mother is taking some time? Taking time? What? Did she, move out? But as soon as I say it, I know it isn't true. My mother wouldn't leave without telling me. Eloise startles awake and jumps down, stalking across the living room with that irritated look she gets whenever her nap ends. She's spending the afternoon with Aunt Jenny, Dad says. After that, we'll see. A different note creeps into his voice then, petulant, with an undercurrent of resentment. This is hard on all of us. I stare at him, blood pounding in my ears, and imagine myself responding the way I want to, with a loud, disbelieving laugh. I'd laugh all the way across the room until I was close enough to rip the book out of his hands and throw it at his head. And then I'd tell him the truth. There is no us anymore. That's ruined, and it's all your fault. But I don't say or do any of that, just like I didn't push Coat Matson into the pool. All I do is nod stiffly, as though he said something that made actual sense. Then I trudge silently upstairs until I reach my bedroom door and lean my head against the cool white wood. You know what you did. My grandmother's letter from years ago said that, and my father has always insisted that she was wrong. I can't know because nothing happened, he'd say. There's not a single thing that I, my brothers, or my sister ever did to justify this kind of treatment. And I believed him without question. I believed that he was innocent and treated unfairly, and that my grandmother must be cold, capricious, and maybe even crazy. But yesterday, I learned how easily he can lie. And now, I don't know what to believe anymore.